Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Crimi-Trent. Today it's Floral Friday, so we're going to be painting daffodils. It's getting springtime, right? In the middle of winter. But I thought you would get like a, get ahead of the game by doing this. So let's get started. First, we're going to teach you how to draw a daffodil. Very simple. You're going to start off with basically like a sideways U, right? And a curvy little circle that goes in around the U. And then around the U, you're going to make petals, like so. And that is your daffodil with a little stamen in the middle. And of course, the stem. And their leaves look kind of like this, just these pointy, but they actually do curve a lot, so like so. And for a little bud, you make one that goes down, like almost like a rosebud, little lines. And then that one that's kind of like not fully open, put some line up here. Here you go with the stem, and you just make like a little, almost like petal leaves, go like this. And then you can make another daffodil down here. Same thing, the U with a crazy curvy circle and the petals and the stem. And there you have it. So let's get started. Okay, so once you've drawn out your design on your paper, I'm using the Arches 100% cotton cold press paper today. I've got my paints over here, my new palette. I have a medium yellow and a permanent yellow light. I've mixed some sap green with some burnt umber, and I've got some, which is over here, the red medium hue, and I mixed it with some of the yellow with this orange color. So first, I'm going to want to wash in the yellow. So you're going to get this pretty wet. And I'm using a Grumbacher number 10 round brush because I don't want my tip to be super pointy. It's more of a round tip. So I'm going to put a light yellow wash across the whole entire daffodil that I have drawn out here. Just fill it all in. Because as we're painting, we'll be adding the layers of depthness to the daffodil. So I have a few here. I did the basic one that I showed you how to draw. The little bud that's over here. A half like opening daffodil over here. And another daffodil down here. Just washing in all that yellow color. Not super wet. You can still kind of see my pencil lines of my drawing, but that's okay, it doesn't matter. I'm also going to wash in the green color of the stems. I'm going to get this color fairly wet, as you can see here. Dab it, and then wash in where the stems are going to go. I'm not touching this part right here because that part of the stem is going to be more of a, it has that, like, looks like a brown paper bag when you get the daffodils kind of attached to them. So that is not going to be green, that's going to be another color. Just washing in. This helps you with the composition also. All the areas where my stem is going to be in the leaves. Once you get used to painting the daffodils, you can put them in a bouquet, various, in like a watering can, whatever you feel like you want to do for your composition. So I've washed almost all stems in. Like I said, this part is like a paper bag, so I'm just going to use a little of this raw umber, wet it down so it's brown. Close to the top. Like so. Still feeling wet. That's okay. I'll zoom in a little bit. The main daffodil. We're going to concentrate on this, and then, obviously with the other ones, you can fill those in. But I'm going to grab this medium color value, which is that medium yellow. Still fairly bright, so I'm going to tone it down a bit with some raw umber. There. Going to go in. So this one still has a kind of a excuse me, still has a little point, so you can still flush out. As you see, I'm just pushing a little paint out, just the lines, like so. Same thing over here. I'm going to keep building layers. Just fill in this color like I'm doing here. And of course, in the middle here, this one's going to get even darker. We're just filling in that tone right now. I actually forgot to take just a little, I painted over the stamen area, so just take my paper towel and just dab it, and you can see that white area. And just go back in, and you can fix that. The same thing over here. Now this one's pale yellow, I won't touch that stamen area. Just going to fill this in. You could do this faster if you didn't want to have it in the layers of the light. But today's teaching, we're not going to be doing that. Again, filling in here, leaving some of that really pale yellow. See, I'm leaving some here, going down to the bud. There we go. I'm just touching it, make sure it's not super wet. Now I'm going to go add, ooh, I got paint on my finger. Add in some of that orange that I made with the yellow and red medium hue. That medium yellow. And it's not super wet. It's a little concentrated, but it's loose. And we'll just test it. It's a little too wet still. Let's see if it's going to work to our advantage. No, it's going to bleed. We'll try it out here. Still a little too wet, so I'm going to dry this and come back. Okay, I dried it, so now I can go in and use that color. Just going to be doing little feathers from the center outward. And then here, I'm going to kind of keep it that color. And water it down just a bit. But on the petals, we're just going to feather it from the center outward, as you can see here. And then a little on the edges. To give you definition of the flower petals. Just feathering with the tip. Feathering is just like that kind of stroke. See, feathering out, you can kind of see the definition of the petals more. And then feathering in from the edges. Getting closer, I'm going to grab some more of this red, medium yellow, red, a little brighter orange. I'll dab a little burnt umber, tone it down. So we have those little squiggly lines of the edge. It's a little darker and deeper. Just going in a little bit like that. And from here, just pushing out little lines. Like so. With this deeper yellow that I mixed with some of the raw umber. Same thing. We're just building. You can actually go in and take some of the raw umber at this point. A little concentrated, not super. Just hit that edge, feather it out. I'm like mopping up a little bit because I didn't like the way that feathered. I'll go in here, just take the raw umber as it's a little concentrated, just touching it here, see? Just feathering it out a little bit. So get that outline. And then a little bit on here. In this part, I'm going to build up on that medium yellow with the yellow. Leaving that white part for the stamen. Pushing it back in here. And then some over in here. You're playing around with the tones a little bit. See, I didn't think that was, I thought that was a little too light, so I'm adding in more of that brighter yellow. I feel like it's too light, you wouldn't be able to see it. Just play around. Getting at the right color tones that you like for yellow. it feels like it's too orangey, you can take that out. Putting some of that brown in, the raw umber. So, see how it's starting to look. I'm going to let that dry a little bit because you want to put those fine lines in there. And show you how to work on the stem. So the stem, you're going to wash in another color, a little bit darker on the edge, then a line right on the edge. And if you can get one in between, that's great too. Because it has like these lines that go up and down. Since this one's out here, I'm going to put this one like that. If you need a pointier brush for that, just grab like whatever pointy brush you have. This is a Princeton Velvet Touch number 8 long round. I'll grab that because the points on this are great. A lot easier than the other one. The other one's good for filling in. This one's good for the lines. Now if the excuse me, if all the lines are not dark enough, so I'll add some of that more concentrated sap green, a little more umber. And go in and put those lines in. Obviously it's going to be darker underneath the petal of the daffodil and darker where it meets the other stem. The stems all have lines in them too. Just filling that in with the lines. Again, it's darker under where the petal meets the stem. Because it has casting a shadow on it. Just doing these little lines. You see it's building slowly. You can get even deeper and darker with the green if you want. I don't want straight green, you want a little brown in there. If you don't have the brown, you can add some red to make a little brown. Just get in there and add those tunes. It really makes the picture stand out more if you're getting all those different values in there. You can see I'm slowly building the colors of the stems. The value. I want to wash that whole color in and then add deeper value in the end. Same thing with this one. It's a process, figuring out if you like it lighter or darker. Takes time. And same thing with the paper looking part underneath the petals and this flower. I'll take some of the raw umber. I'll just put some little lines like so. on that little bud, you can add some green veins to it. Little lines, because it's not quite open yet. And then we finish this process on this one, getting a little deeper with our lines. Now that I have this brush, I'm going to go in and grab, make it a little brighter. That medium yellow, some of that red. I'm going to get these lines. You can see that. Pull the lines out too here. And there's lines a little darker, a little more orange from the edges going in. And then here. It's this constant like building the tones and values. Just to get it right. That's why you start off really pale, because you want to constantly add, not subtract. It's a little harder to subtract with watercolor. Unlike acrylic or even gouache, you can't really paint over it. So it's better to build as it's lighter and then get darker. I'm going to put a color around the stamen area. A little tone of shadow under this part. Oops, sorry. So there you go. And you do the same thing for the rest of them. Just keep building, adding, till you feel satisfied. It's a little too bright. Lines. That's how you want it to look. I like to have it really dark next to the petals. It's like where the shadows would be. To me, it really pops the flowers out more. Get those lines in there. So that's a simple way to paint daffodils. Like I said, just keep building how you want it to look. You go in and feather the edges towards, I'll paint this one even faster. It might look even better than that one. Depends on how you want it to look. I mean, could have more orange to it, more yellow to it, more brown to it. Like these ones I'll just wash in pretty quickly. Some daffodils are white. That's a whole nother thing. You're basically painting the color around it more than the white color itself. I'm showing you how to do it faster. On this one, you're just dabbing in that paint and keep this more pale and keep the petals darker. It's a little variety. Adding in that bright yellow. Just inside here and on the edges. Makes a whole different type of daffodil. You see that? Same thing up here. If you want it very loose looking. But you pretty much get the idea. And go in and add some of that raw umber. Just dab it in there at the edges. See that? Let that bleed a little bit. And this is a looser way to do it. Than the way I did before. But you could still go back in after this and add in all those feathered lines to create that same look. So the loose way and a more tighter. Okay, I should go back in this one and make it a little more loose. And if I feel like it's too much paint in here, I'm going to go add some water to it, take my paper towel, and look at that, dab it off. Same thing here. Go in here, dab it off. That's one way you can kind of eliminate. Go in here. It's a little trick. So now it's looking a little looser. It should go better with this one. Getting rid of, I think there was a little too much of the brown, so I'm going to go in here and wet this, as you see with my brush. Loosen that up. Look at that. So much better, isn't it? Some adding and subtracting, like I said, it's one of those tricky things with watercolor. You have to kind of constantly playing around with it. And go in some of that raw umber in here, just loosely. And the crevices, it gives you that look. Just a little here. Just a depth. And then lastly, I'm going to wash in a little more of that green, a little brighter. Those lines are. Just to punch it up a little bit. This is still wet, but I would add in, going further, a little more of that, just to pull out that stamen, and then the edge, the raw umber, close to where the petals meet too. And I would go and add some of that medium, excuse me, yellow. Put some lines, just a few lines back in. Just to give it some definition, you know, not a lot. We'll still have that loose feel, but it will look a little more realistic. Same thing with this one. And there you go. Daffodils! Floral Friday. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I know it's a little convoluted today, but that's okay. So that's the simple way to do daffodils. I hope you like this tutorial. If you do, please like, share, and subscribe. And thank you so much for coming to my channel. I appreciate this community so much and all your comments. And have a great day. And thanks for stopping by.